La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You've probably said these words hundreds, maybe thousands of times. In moments of fear, in frustration, when life became too heavy and you didn't know what else to say. But here's the question. Do you actually know what you are declaring when these words leave your lips? Because La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah is not simply saying Allah has power. It is something far deeper. These words confront one of the greatest illusions we carry through life. The illusion that we are in control. Your ability to change, your strength to endure, your power to resist temptation. Your ability to worship, to rise after falling, to survive what feels unbearable, none of it exists independently of Allah. And when that truth finally settles into your heart, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah stops being a phrase you simply repeat and becomes a reality you live by. So stay with me until the end, because we're going to uncover the forgotten meaning behind these words and why understanding them could completely change the way you face fear, hardship, weakness, and uncertainty. And if you want more reminders that go beyond the words we repeat and uncover the meanings our hearts desperately need, subscribe and join us on this journey, because after today, you may never say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah the same way again. 1. The moment you stop trying to control everything, you begin to understand Allah's power. Many people are not tired only because life is hard. They are tired because they are trying to control things that were never in their hands. They want to know what will happen next. Will this person stay? Will this opportunity work out? Will Allah give me what I am asking for? Will my future turn out the way I hope? Will this problem finally end? Will people understand me? Will I succeed? Will I lose what I have? Will I be okay? These questions can slowly steal your peace. The mind does not like not knowing. So when it does not have answers, it starts creating its own. You replay old conversations. You think deeply about someone's silence. You imagine bad things happening. Then you imagine the perfect ending. You create a whole future in your mind, and then you become stressed about something that has not even happened yet. Hours pass. Nothing in real life has changed, but your heart feels heavier. This is where La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah can change everything. It reminds you that some things belong to you, and some things belong only to Allah. Your effort belongs to you. The result belongs to Allah. Your honesty belongs to you. How people respond belongs to Allah. Your preparation belongs to you. Whether the door opens belongs to Allah. Your dua belongs to you. When and how Allah answers belongs to Him. You were never asked to control the future. You were asked to do what is right today. That truth can remove a huge weight from your heart. Some people live as if every unanswered question must be solved immediately. They cannot relax until they know what is going to happen. They cannot enjoy today because they are worried about tomorrow. They cannot feel peace because nothing feels certain yet. But Allah never promised you that you would know everything before it happens. He asks you to trust Him because He knows what you cannot see, and that is where real peace begins. You do not need to know every step. You only need enough light for the next one. You do not need to see the whole road. You only need to know that Allah knows where the road is taking you. You do not need to control someone's heart. Allah already controls hearts. You do not need to guarantee your rizq. Allah is Ar-Razzaq, the one who provides. You do not need to force every door to open. Some doors will open, some will stay closed, and some will lead you somewhere better than you ever expected. The problem is that many of us say, I trust Allah, while still trying to control every detail. We make dua, but then we decide exactly how Allah should answer it. we ask for guidance, but when life goes in another direction, we become upset. We say, Ya Allah, choose what is best for me, but deep inside we mean, choose what I already want. But real tawakkul is deeper than that. Real tawakkul says, Ya Allah, I will do my best, but I will not make my plan more important than your plan. It says, I will ask you for what I want, but I know you understand my life better than I do. It says, I will keep moving, but I will not destroy my peace, trying to force something that is not opening. It says, I do not know what tomorrow holds, but Allah does. And sometimes that is all your heart needs. Enough to sleep peacefully. Enough to breathe again. Enough to stop checking the same situation again and again. Enough to stop asking the same question every hour. Enough to remember that not knowing what comes next does not mean Allah has left you. Sometimes uncertainty is exactly where trust in Allah grows. Think about it. If you always knew what was going to happen, you would not need much trust. If every dua was answered immediately in the exact way you wanted, patience would never grow. If every door opened the moment you touched it, you might never learn to depend on the one who opens doors. Sometimes Allah allows you to wait, because waiting teaches your heart something that quick answers never could. Sometimes you are not being punished. You are being taught to trust. Sometimes the answer is not late. You are simply learning that Allah's timing is not your timing. So the next time your mind says, I need to know what happens next, remind yourself of something stronger. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I will do what I can. I will make dua. I will take the next step. And I will leave with Allah what was never mine to control. 2. Your weakest moment may be where Allah's strength finds you. There are moments in life when you simply do not feel strong anymore. You have tried to stay patient. You have tried to think positively. You have told yourself that things will get better. You have kept going even when nobody knew how tired you really were. But eventually, you reach a moment where you have to admit something. I cannot carry this by myself anymore. And many people think that moment means they are weak. But sometimes, that moment is where you finally understand La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Because these words remind you that you were never supposed to find all your strength inside yourself. Your strength was always coming from Allah. Think about your own life. There were days you thought you would never get through. Maybe someone left. Maybe something you deeply wanted did not happen. Maybe a door suddenly closed. Maybe you lost something you thought would always be there. Maybe you spent months waiting for an answer that never came. Maybe you smiled around people while carrying something heavy inside your heart. At that time, you may have thought, I cannot do this. Yet somehow, you kept going. You woke up the next morning. You lived another day. You handled things you once thought would break you. You slowly learned to live with what you could not change. And eventually, you reached places you once thought you would never reach. Where did that strength come from? We often look back and say, I was stronger than I knew. But the believer sees something even deeper. Allah gave me strength when I needed it. Maybe you did not receive enough strength for the whole year at once. You received enough for that day. Maybe you did not know how you would survive the next month. But Allah helped you through that night. Then another morning came. Then another day. Then another week. And little by little, what once looked impossible became something you had already walked through. This is one of the beautiful lessons inside La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa billah. You do not need to be strong by yourself. You need Allah. The world often tells you that strong people need nobody. Never show weakness. Never admit you are tired. Never let people see you struggle. Handle everything alone. But Islam teaches something much deeper. Real strength is not pretending that you need nothing. Real strength is knowing that you need Allah. There is nothing shameful about raising your hands and saying, Ya Allah, I am tired. Ya Allah, I do not know what to do. Ya Allah, this is becoming too heavy for me. Ya Allah, give me strength. You do not need perfect words. Allah already knows what is inside your heart. Sometimes your most honest dua may come when you have no beautiful sentence left. You simply say, Ya Allah, help me. And those few words can carry everything your heart cannot explain. Faith does not mean that you never feel weak. Faith does not mean you never cry. Faith does not mean nothing hurts you. Faith does not mean you always know what Allah is doing in your life. Faith means that when you feel weak, you know where to turn. When you are confused, you still turn to Allah. When your heart is hurting, you still turn to Allah. When you do not understand what is happening, you still turn to Allah. When everyone else has gone home and you are alone with your thoughts, you know Allah is still there. That is strength. Not the strength of someone who never struggles. The strength of someone who knows where to go when the struggle becomes too much. And sometimes Allah allows you to see your weakness because you have started trusting your own strength too much. When everything is going well, it is easy to think you have everything under control. You have the plan. You have the money. You have the people. You have the experience. You know what you are doing. Then something happens that none of those things can fix. Suddenly, your plan is not enough. Your experience is not enough. Your connections are not enough. Your own strength is not enough. And you remember the truth. It was never enough without Allah. This is not meant to make you feel powerless. It is meant to show you where your real power comes from. La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah does not mean I can do nothing, so I will stop trying. It means I can do nothing without Allah, so I will move forward with Him. There is a huge difference. You still make the effort. You still solve the problem if you can. You still seek help. You still work. You still learn. You still try again. But you stop believing that everything depends on your own strength. Because sometimes your strength will disappear, your motivation will fall, your confidence will shake, your heart will become tired. And when that happens, you need something stronger than confidence in yourself. You need trust in Allah. You can say, I do not feel strong today, but Allah can strengthen me. I cannot see the answer, but Allah knows the answer. I do not know how this will end, but Allah knows what I cannot see. I feel afraid, but Allah is greater than what I fear. That is why you should not look at tomorrow and ask yourself whether you are strong enough to survive everything that might happen. You are trying to carry tomorrow with today's strength, and Allah has not asked you to do that. If tomorrow brings a new test, Allah can give you new strength. If tomorrow brings a new responsibility, Allah can give you the ability to carry it. If tomorrow brings something unexpected, Allah will not suddenly stop being your Lord. You do not need strength today for problems that do not exist today. You need enough strength for this moment. Then the next. Then the next. This is how many of the hardest seasons of life are survived. Not all at once. One prayer at a time. One dua at a time. One decision at a time. One day at a time, sometimes even one breath at a time. And perhaps you are already living proof of this. Think about something you once believed you could never survive. At the time, it looked enormous. You could not imagine life after it. But life continued. Allah carried you through days you thought were too heavy. You may still remember the pain. You may still carry the lesson. But you are no longer standing where you once stood. So when another difficult moment comes, remember what Allah has already brought you through. The same Allah who gave you strength before can give you strength again. You may not know how. You may not know when relief will come. You may not understand why this test entered your life. But you do not have to understand everything to ask Allah for help. And maybe your weakest moment is not the moment your story falls apart. Maybe it is the moment you finally stop saying, "I have to handle everything alone." Maybe it is the moment your heart finally says, "Ya Allah, I need you." And that sentence can change the way you carry everything. Because when your own strength reaches its limit, Allah's power has not reached a limit. When you do not know what to do, Allah's knowledge has not decreased. When you cannot see a way forward, Allah is not without a way. So when life feels heavier than your shoulders can carry, remember, La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah. I am not strong by myself. I was never meant to be. Allah is the one who gives strength, and with His help, I can take the next step. 3. Some doors stay closed because your strength was never meant to force them. Sometimes the hardest thing to accept is not losing something. It is accepting that no matter how much you wanted it, you could not make it happen. You tried. You waited. You made dua. You changed your approach. You gave it another chance, then another. But the door still did not open. And when you really want something, a closed door can feel personal. You start asking yourself questions. What am I doing wrong? Why is this happening to me? Why are things easier for everyone else? Why has Allah not given me what I keep asking for? Should I try harder? Should I wait longer? Maybe if I change something about myself, it will finally happen. And slowly, something you once simply wanted becomes something you feel you must have. That is when desire becomes heavy. Because there is nothing wrong with wanting something good. There is nothing wrong with making dua for marriage, success, rizq, an opportunity, a better future, or something your heart deeply hopes for. There is nothing wrong with working hard for it either. But there is a difference between working for something and believing your whole life depends on getting it. And La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah teaches your heart that difference. It reminds you that you can knock on a door, but you cannot command it to open. You can make the effort, but you cannot control the result. You can ask Allah again and again, but you cannot decide exactly how Allah must answer you. Sometimes we become so focused on one door that we forget Allah has more than one way of bringing goodness into our lives. We decide how the story should happen. This person must be the one. This job must work. This opportunity must happen. This plan must succeed. This is the only way my future can become good. And when that one thing does not happen, we begin to think everything is falling apart. But maybe your life is not falling apart. Maybe your plan is simply not the whole plan. You can only see what is in front of you. Allah knows what is beyond it. You see the person you want. Allah knows who that person may become. You see the opportunity you are chasing. Allah knows where it could lead. You see the door that is closed today. Allah knows what would happen if it opened tomorrow. You see what you are losing. Allah knows what you may be protected from. This does not mean that every closed door is a sign that something bad was behind it. We do not know Allah's hidden reasons. Sometimes a door is closed for a time and later opens. Sometimes you simply need patience. Sometimes you need more preparation. Sometimes you need to try again. And sometimes the direction changes completely. The important thing is not pretending that we know exactly why Allah allowed something to happen. The important thing is remembering that He knows what we do not. The Quran teaches us that we may dislike something while it is good for us, and we may love something while it is bad for us. Allah knows while we do not know. That truth becomes very different when it enters your own life. Because it is easy to believe Allah knows best when His plan looks like your plan. It becomes harder when you prayed for one thing and received something different. It becomes harder when you were sure a person belonged in your future and then they left. It becomes harder when you worked for an opportunity and watched someone else receive it. It becomes harder when you have been waiting so long that you begin wondering whether anything will change. That is where trust becomes real. Tawakkul is not only trusting Allah when the door opens. Sometimes tawakkul is standing in front of a closed door and saying, "Ya Allah, I do not understand this, but I still trust you." There is power in that. Because now your peace is not controlled by the door. It is connected to Allah. Think about how often we exhaust ourselves trying to force things. We force conversations with people who clearly do not want to communicate. We force relationships that have lost honesty and respect. We force ourselves into places where we constantly have to prove that we belong. We chase approval from people who never seem satisfied. We keep trying to bring back something that has already changed. And each time it does not work, we try harder. Sometimes effort is necessary. But effort without wisdom can become suffering. There comes a point where you need to ask yourself, am I doing my part, or am I trying to control the outcome? Am I being patient, or am I refusing to accept that the direction may be changing? Am I trusting Allah, or am I only trusting Him if He gives me exactly what I want? These questions are not easy, but they can free your heart. Because one of the deepest forms of peace comes when you can say, "Ya Allah, I still want this, but I want what you know is best for me more." That does not mean your desire disappears. You may still hope. You may still make dua. You may still feel disappointed. You may still wish things had happened differently. Trust does not mean you stop feeling. It means your feelings no longer decide what you believe about Allah. You can be disappointed without believing Allah has forgotten you. You can lose something without believing your future is empty. You can watch a door close without believing every door has closed. You can have a plan fail without believing your whole life has failed. Because Allah is greater than one outcome. Allah is greater than one opportunity. Allah is greater than one relationship. Allah is greater than one path you imagined for yourself. And sometimes we forget this because we become attached not only to what we want, but to how we want it to happen. Maybe you have asked Allah for rizq, and you are waiting for it to come through one specific job. Maybe Allah has another door. Maybe you have asked Allah for companionship, and your heart is fixed on one specific person. Maybe your story is different. Maybe you have asked for success, and you believe it must happen according to your timeline. Maybe the time you spend waiting is preparing you for responsibilities you cannot yet see. Again, we cannot claim to know what Allah will do, but we can know this. Allah's ability is not limited to the path you can currently imagine. That is why one closed door should never make you believe there is no future left. You may see one road. Allah knows every road. You may see one solution. Allah knows solutions you have never considered. You may believe you are at the end. Allah may be taking you into a chapter you could not have planned yourself. Think about something from your past that you desperately wanted. Maybe you prayed for it. Maybe losing it hurt. Maybe at the time you could not understand why things happened the way they did. But years later, perhaps you saw the situation differently. You changed. Your priorities changed. You learned things you did not know then. And maybe you looked back and quietly said, Alhamdulillah, not because the pain was fake, not because the disappointment did not matter, but because time showed you something you could not see when you were standing inside the moment. Sometimes understanding comes later. Sometimes it may not come in this life. Faith is not believing that you will always receive an explanation. Faith is knowing that Allah's wisdom does not depend on your ability to understand it. This is where La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah becomes more than words. It becomes a way of releasing the door without losing your faith. You say, I will make my effort. I will keep making dua. I will take the halal steps available to me. I will try again when trying again is wise. But I will not destroy myself trying to force what only Allah can open. And there is freedom in that. You no longer have to beg every person to stay. You no longer have to chase every opportunity that passes you. You no longer have to believe every rejection says something about your worth. You no longer have to treat every delay as a disaster. You can keep moving. You can stay hopeful. You can remain open to what Allah brings next. Because your future was never trapped behind one closed door. And maybe the door you keep staring at is making you miss the road Allah has already placed beside you. Maybe you are so focused on what did not happen that you cannot see what is still possible. Maybe you are asking Allah to return you to something while He is teaching you how to move forward. You do not need to know which one it is today. You only need to keep your heart connected to Allah while you take the next right step. So if there is a door in your life that refuses to open, do what you can. Make dua, seek guidance, take wise action. Be patient when patience is needed. Try again when trying again makes sense. But do not make that door your God. Do not let one outcome decide whether Allah has been good to you. Do not let one rejection convince you that you have been rejected by Allah. And do not believe that your future ends where your plan ends. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I can knock, but Allah opens. I can work, but Allah gives the result. I can hope, but Allah knows what is best. And if one door stays closed, I will not lose myself trying to break it down. I will trust that the one who closed what I wanted is still the one who holds everything I need. 4. Every success you call yours was first made possible by Allah. It is easy to remember Allah when life becomes difficult. When you are waiting for something, you make dua. When you are afraid, you ask Allah for help. When money becomes tight, you ask Allah for rizq. When a door closes, you ask Him to open another. When your heart is hurting, you turn to Him because you know nobody understands what is inside you better than Allah. But there is another test that can be even harder than difficulty. What happens when everything starts going right? The dua gets answered. The door finally opens. The opportunity arrives. The business begins to grow. The money becomes better. The problem that kept you awake at night disappears. The thing you once begged Allah for slowly becomes a normal part of your life. And this is where the heart must be careful. Because sometimes we remember Allah while we need the blessing, but slowly forget Him after receiving it. Think about something you once prayed deeply for. Maybe today you wake up with it every morning. There was a time you would have cried if someone told you Allah was going to give it to you. But now you barely notice it. What was once a dua has become normal. What was once a dream has become your daily life. This happens because the human heart becomes used to blessings very quickly. You prayed for the job. Then the job became stressful. You prayed for more income. Then the new income became normal. You prayed for an opportunity. Then you started comparing your opportunity with someone else's. You prayed for a better situation. Then after some time, you began noticing everything that was still missing. We can become so focused on the next thing we want that we forget we are already living inside some of yesterday's duas. And La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah brings the heart back. It reminds you, none of this happened through your power alone. Yes, you worked. Yes, you stayed patient. Yes, you learned. Yes, you made sacrifices. Yes, you made difficult decisions. Your effort matters, but your effort was never the whole story. Who gave you the ability to work? Who gave you the mind that could learn? Who gave you another morning to continue? Who gave your body the strength to keep moving? Who placed the opportunity in front of you? Who connected you with people you could never have planned to meet? Who protected you from things you did not even know were coming? Who allowed your effort to produce a result? Allah. Sometimes we think success proves how powerful we are. But for the believer, success should remind us how dependent we are on Allah, because you can have the best plan and still watch it fail. You can work extremely hard and still face something outside your control. You can be talented and never receive the right opportunity. You can prepare perfectly and still watch life move in another direction. So when something finally works, the heart should not only say, "I did it." It should say, "Alhamdulillah, Allah allowed this." That one change in thinking protects you from pride, because success can quietly make a person believe that they no longer need Allah as much as they did before. During the struggle, they prayed. After success, they became busy. During the waiting, they remembered Allah. After receiving, they remembered the blessing. During hardship, they said, "Ya Allah, I need you." Then life improved, and slowly the heart began saying, "I can handle everything now." This is one of the hidden tests of success. Hardship asks, will you trust Allah when you have little? Success asks, will you remember Allah when you have much? Sometimes having nothing makes dependence on Allah obvious. Having everything can make you forget it. That is why La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah is not only a phrase for painful moments. Say it when life is going well. Say it when your plan succeeds. Say it when people praise you. Say it when the money comes. Say it when the opportunity you wanted finally arrives. Say it when you accomplish something you once thought was impossible. Because these words remind you, this blessing did not reach me through my strength alone. And when you understand that, success changes you differently. Instead of making you proud, it makes you grateful. Instead of making you feel above people, it makes you humble. Instead of thinking, "Look what I have done," you begin thinking, "Look at what Allah allowed me to experience." And there is something beautiful about a person who becomes more humble as Allah gives them more. Their success does not make them look down on people who are still struggling, because they know how easily their own story could have been different. They remember the nights when they were worried. They remember the days when nobody knew their name. They remember the dua they made when the answer seemed far away. They remember how many times they nearly gave up. So when Allah finally gives them something, they do not walk around as if they created their destiny with their own hands. They say, "Alhamdulillah," because they know the truth. If Allah had not helped me, I would not be here. This kind of gratitude also changes how you treat other people. When you think everything came from you, pride makes you judge those who have less. You may look at someone struggling and think, they just need to work harder. Maybe they do need effort, but you do not know their whole story. You do not know their tests. You do not know the doors that closed for them. You do not know what they have survived. And you do not know how much of what you have came through blessings you could never have created yourself. Gratitude makes the heart softer. It makes you more willing to help, more careful with your words, less interested in showing everyone how successful you are, because you know you are carrying gifts from Allah, and gifts are not reasons for arrogance, they are responsibilities. If Allah gives you knowledge, use it well. If Allah gives you wealth, use it well. If Allah gives you influence, use it well. If Allah gives you a strong position, Do not use it to make others feel small. If Allah opens a door for you, remember the person still standing outside another door. Your blessing is not proof that Allah loves you more than everyone who has less, and someone else's hardship is not proof that Allah has forgotten them. Life is a test in different forms. Sometimes the test is what Allah withholds. Sometimes the test is what Allah gives, and success has its own question. What will this blessing do to your heart? Will it bring you closer to Allah, or will it make you forget Him? Will it increase your gratitude, or increase your ego? Will you use it in ways Allah loves, or will the gift slowly become more important to you than the giver? This is why some of the most important moments to remember Allah are the moments when you feel you need nothing. Because the truth is, you still need Him. You needed Allah before the door opened. You need Allah while you are walking through it. And you will need Allah after that chapter ends. Your situation changed. Your need for Allah did not. And once you understand that, you stop building your identity around temporary things. You are not only your job. You are not only your money. You are not only your achievements. You are not only your reputation. You are not only what people think of you. Because all of those things can change. A job can disappear. Money can come and go. People can praise you today and forget you tomorrow. A plan that works for years can suddenly change, but Allah remains. This is where La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah gives you another kind of freedom. It teaches you to enjoy the blessing without making the blessing your source of safety. You can love what Allah gives you. You can thank Him for it. You can protect it. You can work hard to grow it. But your heart does not have to become a prisoner of it. Because if your peace depends completely on what you have, then every possibility of losing it will frighten you. But if your peace is connected to Allah, then even while you value the blessing, you remember, the one who gave it is greater than what He gave. Maybe Allah gives you something for many years. Maybe circumstances change. You do not know. But you know the source of every blessing has not disappeared. Allah was your provider before this blessing came. Allah is your provider while you have it, and Allah will remain your provider if your situation changes. So when something beautiful happens in your life, do not only celebrate the result. Remember the one who made it possible. When people congratulate you, say Alhamdulillah and mean it. When you reach something you worked years for, remember the nights when only Allah knew how much you wanted it. When your dua becomes your reality, do not let your reality make you forget your dua. And when success begins to whisper, "You did all of this yourself," answer it with the truth. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I worked, but Allah gave me the ability to work. I planned, but Allah allowed the plan to succeed. I knocked, but Allah opened the door. I walked, but Allah gave me strength for every step. This success is a blessing, and the blessing should never make me forget the one who gave it. Vive, when you surrender what you cannot control, you discover what tawakkul really means. There comes a moment when you have done everything you can. You made the effort. You made dua. You waited. You tried again. You asked for advice. You thought about every possible solution, and still, you do not know what will happen. This is the moment many hearts struggle with the most, because doing something feels easier than waiting. When you are working, you feel like you are moving. When you are solving a problem, you feel useful. But when there is nothing left to do except wait for what Allah will bring, the heart becomes uncomfortable. You want an answer. You want a sign. You want certainty. You want to know whether the thing you are praying for will happen. You want to know whether this difficult chapter will end soon. You want to know what your life will look like 6 months from now. And when you cannot know, Your mind starts trying to live in the future. What if this does not work? What if I lose what I have? What if this person leaves? What if I never get the opportunity? What if I make the wrong decision? What if my situation does not change? What if everything becomes harder? And suddenly, you are suffering over things that have not happened. Your body is here. But your mind is living inside a tomorrow that does not exist yet. This is one of the deepest places where La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah can change your heart. It reminds you that tomorrow is not yours to carry today. You were given this moment, this day, this prayer, this decision, this next step. You were not given the responsibility of controlling everything that may happen later. And yet many of us spend today's strength fighting tomorrow's imagined problems. We become tired before the test even arrives. We feel heartbreak over something we have not lost. We feel rejection before anyone has rejected us. We feel failure before we have failed. We create a painful future in our minds, then begin living emotionally as if it has already happened. But ask yourself something simple. How many things have you worried about that never happened? How many nights did you lose sleep over situations that later worked themselves out? How many times did you imagine the worst, only for Allah to take your life in a completely different direction? Your mind can imagine thousands of futures. Allah knows the one you will actually live. That is why Tawakkul is so powerful. Tawakkul does not mean you stop planning. It does not mean you stop working. It does not mean you ignore problems and simply hope they disappear. Tawakkul means you take the steps you can take, then you trust Allah with what you cannot control. You prepare for tomorrow, but you do not try to become the owner of tomorrow. You work for the result. But you do not make your peace depend completely on the result. You make dua for what you want, but you remember that Allah knows what you need better than you do. This is where surrender becomes beautiful. Because surrender to Allah is not the same as giving up. Giving up says, there is no hope. Tawakkul says, my hope is in Allah. Giving up says, I will stop trying. Tawakkul says, I will do what I can, and I will leave what I cannot do to Allah. Giving up comes from despair. Tawakkul comes from trust. You can have tawakkul and still want something deeply. You can ask Allah for it every night. You can work toward it. You can dream about it. You can hope it happens. But deep inside, your heart learns to say, Ya Allah, I want this, but I trust you more than I trust what I want. That is not an easy sentence, because we become attached to our plans. We imagine exactly how life should look. By this age, I should have this. By next year, I should be there. This person should stay. This opportunity should work. This dua should be answered in this way. And when life moves differently, we become afraid that something has gone wrong. But your plan changing does not mean Allah's plan has failed. A delay does not mean Allah has forgotten you. A closed door does not mean your future is closed. A difficult season does not mean your entire life will be difficult. You are looking at one moment. Allah knows your whole journey. You are reading one page. Allah knows the entire story. And sometimes we judge the whole story from one painful page. We say, nothing is working, but perhaps something is still being prepared. We say, I am behind, but behind compared to whom? Someone else's timeline? Someone else's life? Someone else's blessings? Allah did not create every person to walk the same road at the same speed. Someone receives something at 25. Someone receives it at 35. Someone is tested through waiting. Someone is tested through receiving early. Someone's life changes quickly. Someone's life changes slowly. Your job is not to force your life to look like someone else's. Your job is to remain close to Allah while walking the path He has given you. Comparison makes waiting harder because you start looking at what Allah has given everyone else. You see their marriage, their success, their money, their peace, their opportunities, and you wonder, Ya Allah, when will it be my turn? But you are seeing only what people show. You do not know their whole test, and they do not know yours. Your relationship with Allah cannot be measured by someone else's timeline. Sometimes the waiting itself becomes part of what changes you. You begin asking better questions. You become more patient. You become more careful about what you chase. You discover what matters. You learn that not every desire deserves control over your heart. And perhaps most importantly, you discover whether you wanted Allah or only wanted what Allah could give you. That is a difficult question. When the dua is answered quickly, gratitude can feel easy. But what happens when you keep asking and still have to wait? Can you still worship Allah? Can you still say, Alhamdulillah? Can you still believe He is good? Can you still trust Him when you cannot see what He is doing? That is where tawakkul becomes deeper than words. Because real trust is not saying, I trust Allah because I know He will give me exactly what I want. Real trust is saying, I trust Allah even when I do not know what He will give me. There is a huge difference. One kind of trust is connected to the outcome, the other is connected to Allah. And when your trust is connected to Allah, uncertainty does not disappear, but it loses some of its power over you. You may still feel nervous. You may still wonder what happens next. You may still have difficult days. But beneath all of that, there is something steady. Allah is still Allah. If this door opens, Allah is with me. If this door stays closed, Allah is with me. If this person stays, Allah is with me. If this person leaves, Allah is still my Lord. If my plan works, Alhamdulillah. If my path changes, I will ask Allah to guide me through the new one. That is freedom, because now no single outcome controls your entire heart. And this is why La Hawla Wa La Quwwata illa Billah is so powerful. It reminds you that you do not need today's strength for every possible tomorrow. If tomorrow brings a new test, Allah can give you new strength. If tomorrow brings a difficult decision, Allah can give you guidance. If tomorrow brings a loss, Allah can give you patience. If tomorrow brings an opportunity, Allah can give you wisdom to handle it. You are afraid because you are imagining tomorrow without including Allah in the picture. You imagine the problem, but you forget the help. You imagine the pain, but you forget the strength Allah can give. You imagine the door closing, but you forget Allah can open another. You imagine losing something, but you forget that Allah remains. The future feels much more frightening when you imagine yourself facing it alone. But you will never enter a day in which Allah has stopped being Allah. That should change how you think about tomorrow. You do not know what is coming, but you know who will still be there. Maybe that is the certainty your heart actually needs, not certainty about every event. Certainty about Allah. You may not know where your rizq will come from, but you know Allah is Ar-Razzaq. You may not know which door will open, but you know Allah has power over every door. You may not know how a difficult situation will end, but you know nothing is hidden from Allah. You may not know what your life will look like a year from now, but you know your life has never been outside Allah's knowledge for even a moment. So why carry tomorrow twice? Why suffer it today and then face it again if it actually comes? Give today what belongs to today. Make today's dua. Do today's work. Pray today's salah. Take today's step. Ask forgiveness for today's mistakes. Be grateful for today's blessings. And when tomorrow comes, meet tomorrow with Allah. This does not mean you will never worry again. You are human. But when worry comes, you now have somewhere to return. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I cannot control everything, and I do not need to. I cannot see the whole road. Allah can. I cannot guarantee the result. Allah already knows it. I cannot carry every possible tomorrow today. So I will stop trying. I will make dua. I will work. I will hope. I will take the next right step. And then I will leave what I cannot control with Allah. Because tawakkul is not giving up on your future. It is giving your future back to the one who already holds it. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah is more than a phrase we repeat. It is a reminder that you do not have to carry everything, control every outcome, or understand every chapter before you trust Allah. Do your best, make your dua, take the next right step, and leave what is beyond your hands with the one whose power has no limits. So when life feels too heavy, whisper it with understanding. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Your strength may have limits, but Allah's power never does. If this reminder reached your heart, share it with someone who may need it today, and subscribe for more reminders that bring the heart back to Allah.